All right, everybody, welcome back into the WSAZ Now studio. This is another episode of WSAZ Sports Plus, a very special episode of WSAZ Sports Plus. Some might even say it's a very important episode of WSAZ Sports Plus because we won't be using the double box today. We'll be using the triple box, which means you have the entirety of the WSAZ Sports arm. You know what? I won't say the entirety because Andrew Colgrove pulls his weight around here too. And we'll have to get Andrew Colgrove up here. But we've got Keith Morehouse and Jimmy Tracy joining us. Long time no see, Jimmy.
It's been a while.
It's been a while.
We'll talk about
I'm sure
that in a
our
minute.
viewers are excited. Yet we will, Jimmy will explain his absence at the end of the show. So if you are joining us live or if you're joining us after the fact, maybe you want to fast forward to the end and hear that story first. But it's going to be a good one. We have a lot of sports to talk about first, gentlemen, whether that's Marshall hoops, a little bit of swimming and diving action, some Olympic action, all kinds of things. But first, Jimmy, welcome back. How are you feeling, bud?
I'm feeling about 95%.
95%.
The only thing I don't want to do again is fall. So everything else is back to normal.
We'll leave that as the teaser for everyone. We don't want to bury the lead. Keith, how does it feel to have Jimmy Tracy over there to your left? I mean, your right-hand man back in the fray with us here on the WSAZ now.
Yeah, man, he was on the disabled list. That'll take its toll on you. But he's back. He's been back in the office and he's been working. So I think he's been I think he's been slacking on the WSAZ Sports Plus deal. To be honest with you, Joseph.
It's not to say he hasn't been working.
No, he's been working. He
Right.
just didn't want to come up these steps. So I think we got him back now. So it's good.
Well, that's good. We got a lot to talk about. You guys have been keeping up with it. Jimmy, still in his absence, been keeping up with sports. You can't keep him away. Let's go to Marshall Hoops. We'll start on the men's side, but really, just in general, like our graphic says, a huge week for Marshall Hoops in general. Last week, the regular season. Both teams will be getting ready for the conference tournament. You guys will be getting ready for your trip to go down there to cover the conference tournament. Let's start on the men's side. A huge win at Appalachian State last week. They did follow that up with a loss to Coastal, but tonight's a huge one for them as well. Where do you want to start with the Marshall men, guys?
Well, it's a big week just because they can play themselves right into a semifinal spot in Pensacola. The way the tournament runs itself now these days, every school's invited, and it's kind of think of a ladder that gets narrower at the top. And the better you do in the regular season, the fewer games you have to play in the conference tournament. So because they split, and that Appalachian win ended up being huge, if they can beat Old Dominion tonight, beat them by 2 down in Norfolk 11 days ago, and if they can beat Georgia Southern on Friday, that guarantees them a spot automatically into the semis. So if you think of it, you got to win. Go down there to Pensacola, get your mind right, and try to win 2 games and get yourselves an NCAA tournament bid. So there's a huge amount on the line for the team this week.
Yeah, and the semifinals, as I think you and I were looking up down there, that's not till Sunday, right, Jimmy?
Yeah, and who'd have thunk that Appy State game would be so important? I mean, every game's important in conference, but to win down there, is that a possible tiebreaker to get a 1 or 2 seed if they go 12-6? So yeah, that was a huge win for them. After the Coastal loss, we knew that they weren't feeling well, so that's it's a game you can live with them losing, but they still came back, cut it to 3. With a Landon Joseph layup.
What a week he had, man.
Yeah. So, but now that, they know what's ahead of them. Win the next 2 games, get to 12-6. Appy only plays 1 game this week. And then like 5 teams have 10 wins or more right now, which shows how top-heavy that conference is. Even the teams at 6, 7, 8, 9. 9-6, 8-8, 7. I mean, they're all within a couple games of each other. So the Sun Belt men's tournament should be fantastic when it gets all down to it next week.
It's hard to say how that seeding is going to shake out because we don't know what we don't know just yet. There's a lot of different scenarios that could happen, but for Marshall's sake, you hope you got to at least get 1 this week. You get both of them, you're probably not playing until Saturday or Sunday.
Yeah, and that's just the important part of it. If you remember, the women last year had to play 5 games in a row. They won 5 in a row. Still would have had to win 2 more to win the tournament. That's the way it is. If you go in there with a 9 or a 10 seed, but if you jump in there in the top 4, you got a real shot to go win the tournament. And I like the format because I think it rewards the regular season. It puts great emphasis on the regular season in the Sun Belt. By and large, every year they're only going to get 1 bid anyway. You're not going to get an at-large bid, generally speaking, from some of these mid-major leagues for the most part. But so you got to go down there and win the tournament anyway. You mentioned Landon Joseph. I thought he was phenomenal at the end of that Appalachian State game. He basically took over that game and showed the kind of offensive athleticism and talent that he has. I mean, he looked like, some of those turnaround jumpers we were talking about looked like a little Michael Jordan-esque, the way he just has a knack for it. So he played great. Spears playing well. Andrew Fuqua played really well down there at Appalachian State. I think it was 6 for 6 from the field.
15 points.
Yeah, 15 points, and he took care of because one of the downsides of not having Matt Van Komen and Eric Harding got into foul trouble. Wyatt Fricks has been having to play the 5. And he's getting in a lot of foul trouble. He's not burly enough, bulky enough to get down there and bang around with those guys. So when he gets into foul trouble, Andrew Fuqua and Shamari Hugie have kind of stepped up. So those are guys they're going to need down in Pensacola too.
Are you all sure about the Van Komen injury status at this point? Will we get him back this week, or maybe not till the conference tournament?
He had a boot on him a week or so ago, and now I've seen him come out on the bench in shoes. So,
I straight up asked Corny Jackson yesterday in the news conference about it, and he said, look, I don't know his availability. And you get into all the HIPAA stuff anyway when you start talking about injuries. But he said, we're going to ride with who's ready to go. So if he's ready, he'll play. If he's not, next man up. So, we talked about that. We also talked a little bit, Joseph, about and Jimmy, about the 2-3 zone that they've been using at various parts of the season to some real success. They got down big against Old Dominion. They go to that 2-3 little matchup zone they play. And it's been really effective, and we asked Corny Jackson about it, and here's an explanation of how that's kind of helped them when they need to get out of man-to-man and change the tempo.
Well, it's just one of those things. Whether we're in man or zone, we want to have aggressiveness about us. We want to have a focus. We don't want to – a lot of teams, when they play zone, they relax, right? I don't want our guys relaxing mentally or physically when we go zone. I still want our guys to be active, and we'll put a little press before it and play the press and then fall back into a zone. So the guys, they've been doing a great job executing it. I can't take any credit. The credit goes to them. They're on the floor executing and making the play. I'm on the sidelines just calling the play. Still got to execute it.
Yeah, so he's been able to employ that, and they're playing pretty well. The league is so balanced. I mean, every night it sounds like a cliche, but you can go beat somebody and somebody can beat you. So you better have your focus, and you better have your health, and you better be ready to go come this week and then heading down to Pensacola.
What's crazy is some of these other teams at 8-8 and 9-6 and whatever that are within striking distance of being a 5 or a 6 seed. They'll be playing the top guys, and beneficial for Marshall. They have 2 games at home, but some of these top teams, they're on the road or they're splitting, home and away, and so everyone's going to be fighting for spots. That's for sure. Which should make these last 3 or 4 days exciting, because there's games tonight, games Wednesday, and everyone plays Friday. So we'll know around midnight, maybe a little later, if there's a Central Time Zone game that starts at 8. Heck, Marshall starts at 9. So we'll know come Saturday morning who's playing when and all the fun that comes with it.
Yeah, the tournament format, like you guys said, it really incentivizes you to keep playing hard the whole way, because your seed absolutely matters. It's the difference in maybe playing on Tuesday versus Friday.
Yeah.
Well,
and that's an extra couple of games just to get to where you want to be.
In my brain, I call it the Middle Tennessee State rule, because remember that year they were 33 and something?
Yeah.
Lost in the first round of the Conference USA tournament. Mm-hmm. They get to the semis or finals, maybe lose. They might have been an at-large team. Yeah. Losing that first round game at Frisco, and IT bound. Yeah. So that might be why the Sun Belt and maybe that's a good reason they did it, because you want your marquee teams that have been great all year long. You want them still to have a sniff at an at-large bid if their record's that good. So.
Well, we're talking about Miami. Everybody's theorizing, what if Miami loses in the MAC tournament?
A lot of conversation about that.
Yeah, the kind of season they've had, I think it's laughable, to be honest. But they got to be careful. You don't want to stumble twice anyway. They may be able to avoid one stumble, but not 2. But that I think in those tournaments, I think the most you really want to play would be 3 straight 3 straight nights. I think that's about as much as you can get. And most of the big tournaments anyway, you end up doing that. If you're coming through the semis, you're coming through a lower seed, you're going to play 3 nights in a row. So anything more than that, I think it just takes it out of it. It's asking too much to have a team go in there and play 5 nights and win the championship. I mean, it could happen, but it's probably a rare occurrence.
Well, then you turn around. If you were to do that, guess what? Now you're in the NCAA tournament. We're doing it all over again.
Right,
then those games are even bigger.
Well, I mean, that's the goal, right? I mean, you're not tired after that.
You'll take it.
You got 4 or 5 days to rest after that. More for the Sun Belt because they finish early.
Yeah. Well, on the women's side, they find themselves in a very similar situation. A regular season conference crown is probably less than likely at this point. They're a game and a half back, but they're in 4th place. And we talked about it. You're one of those top 4 seeds. You don't play until the semifinal round of this thing. If you fall down into 5 and 6, that's another game. You're there a day earlier. All of those things, and that's what the women are facing right now. Is their 4th place in the league, entering, the last game of the regular season for them against Georgia Southern this Friday.
And they're the only team that's playing one game this week. They spread out these Wednesday, Tuesday buys throughout the year. And of the teams that are, looking for that 4th, or there's to be a top 4 team to play Saturday or Sunday into the finals, they're the only team that has one game. Troy has 2, Georgia Southern has 2, Arkansas State 2, James Madison 2. And Julie Folks talked about it after the game the other night where they came back to win. And she says, you know what, I like rest, especially this time of the year. Would have been good to have it in early February, maybe, but the girls are going to get rested. They'll be ready to go against Georgia Southern, who put it on them down there. But, it's a long season. So sometimes the legs catch up to you. They've had some time to rest. And Georgia Southern, they have to go at Appalachian State Wednesday and then come to Marshall. So
tough.
It's going to be quite a 5 team stretch coming down the way here.
I think she's done a tremendous job this year, getting them back on track. And last year they had that great momentum going into this upcoming season when they won those 5 straight in Pensacola. But Tamai Lewis-Utsi's been phenomenal for them. And, they put themselves in a good position. I'm pretty much sure Cornish Jackson said this, and I'm sure Julie would say the same thing. Let's go win Friday, and then let everybody else do the math, right? You can't sit around and what happens if this. Just go play your game, see where it fleshes out. You're going to Pensacola anyway. You just got to figure out who you're playing and when. That's all.
It helps to have a guard like Lewis-Utsi on your side who's good for, what feels like 20 a night. Sometimes she's giving you 30, and then, your guards and forwards that step out and hit 3 and what feels like in bunches at times. This Marshall team can beat anybody, and that includes anyone that they could see later on in March if they were able to get themselves through the conference tournament and play in the NCAA.
And remember, some of the seniors, Peyton Ilderton and Meredith Mayer, they have good memories of that place. I mean, they won the title down there. That was Jimmy and I were there, and what a day that was to watch them, basically upset the team in the league, JMU, weren't supposed to beat them. And so it's kind of like Jimmy knows this. When you go to a golf course where you've really been good and or even a PGA guy's won there, you have a good mindset of that place. And so they like Pensacola, even though they complain that it's cold because there's a hockey rink under there. But they've got good memories, so there's no reason to think they can't go down there and make some noise.
And those rims are loose. I mean, some
friendly rolls.
Oh yeah, you'll hit that rim, and I'm like, that could roll in and get a friendly bounce, as opposed to some rims are tight and it just bounces anywhere that it could go to. But yeah, that's a shooter's gym, I think, as case in point with Marshall a couple of years ago when they just kind of lit it up and won the title.
Kind of like Cameron Indoor, Jimmy. When Jimmy and I played horse at Cameron Indoor.
Man, who won that?
Well, Jimmy won. It went to overtime, but he got a couple. Talk about friendly rolls.
Okay.
And he's a Duke fan anyway, so it all worked out for him. But yeah.
Coach K came out and says, "You have any eligibility left?" I said, "No, I'm good."
Well, while we're talking about loose rims real quick, loosest rim you guys have ever played on anywhere? Because everyone, I feel like, kind of has that. You think back to when you were a kid playing basketball at different places.
Fieldhouse.
Fieldhouse was good.
I played in the Fieldhouse. When I went to St. Joe, we never played at our high school. We played every home game was at the Fieldhouse, and they had those old breakaway rims that if you hit it wrong, it would clink.
Oh yeah.
But those were pretty nice to have.
And if anybody knows about shooting, it's Jimmy.
He's once told me when he steps into the gym, he's in range.
We often say he's never met a shot he doesn't like.
Last night at dinner, we were talking about both the boys play basketball for their fraternity at Marshall, and I think they had a game or something. And I just looked up at Alex and says, "What's my range, Alex?" And he was eating his chicken. He says, In the gym. Didn't even look up.
In the gym. Shoot them up.
Perfect. I love it. I don't know how we segue from that to swimming and diving,
hard,
but
yeah.
we're going to.
Okay.
Keith, you and I spoke about swimming and diving up here on this program last week, and that was as that team was headed to North Carolina, I believe, correct? For
Greensboro.
the American Conference meet, that championship. Marshall finished 8th as a team. They did have Lauren McNamara, if I'm pronouncing her name correctly. She did win the 200-yard butterfly and set another program record. I think she's done that numerous times throughout the course of the season. So she went out on a pretty high note. And, just one of those bittersweet moments.
Man.
You saw the clips from everyone, not just the Marshall folks, but the whole pool
natatorium, yeah.
singing Country Roads.
And they
pretty
say,
special
I
moment.
think they played Marshall's alma mater, too. There's no way to sugarcoat that one, except it's just sad. I mean, those women work so hard, have poured their soul and basically their whole life into this sport. And for Lauren to win that, I saw him interview her afterwards, and it was a tremendous interview. I mean, the interviewer asked her, "How do you deal with this now? You've won this, and then on the other side, you had to deal with all this coming up, and this is the last time you ever swim for Marshall." And it was emotional, and there's no easy way to say it, except it's just unfortunate. It's a part of modern intercollegiate athletics, but it doesn't make those women feel any better. And all I think Marshall can do and their fans is to thank them for their efforts. I mean, these people. These graduates, we talked about this, Joseph, in the swimming and diving program, end up doing great things in life. And most college athletes do. And you want them to come back and have good feelings about your university and give back to the university. And undoubtedly they would have, but now they're going to probably part. I think 17 of the 29 had transferred. They still want to play, whatever you want to. Everybody wants to play their sport. And so if that's here, fine. If it's not, you got to go do it somewhere else. But what a moment that was to watch them finish it up, and for Lauren to get that win. Boy, that's a memory she'll have forever.
At least for plenty of them, not to speak for them, I'm sure that the way the fan base has responded, sending them off down to the conference championships in the way that they did, the support that they had at the conference championships, this probably feels sour for them, the situation as it pertains to Marshall University. But it feels like the fan base is sending them out the right way, and I'm sure that that's meant a lot to them, all that support throughout all of this. I mean, I don't know what else you can say. It's such a crappy time for them, but at least they know that there are people in their corner.
Well, I mean, in the end, that's what intercollegiate athletics is about, right? The university's connection to the community and its fans, the athletes' connection, and that's what we can't lose as we go forward with all this stuff. No matter if it's transfer portal, NIL, we're getting away from that, and I think that's dangerous territory. I think most people who go and spend their hard-earned money to go watch these athletes play want to identify with them, want to kind of know them, want to talk to them, want to get their autograph, and they become close with them. I mean, it happens at every university in America. And if we go the other way with this, just to rent a player or whatever, I don't think that's good for the future of college sports. So I think this is a cautionary tale about how you have to embrace these athletes and these sports, and make sure that you take care of them.
Yeah, the times of knowing your favorite team's starting five from 15 years ago are long gone. I mean, we could probably list Marshall's starting five between 95 to 2000. I mean, it's just the same corny. Played
Marsley,
Travis Young, J.R. Van Hoos. I mean, it's just amazing. But that's kind of where we are. At some point, we hope to kind of get back to where they stay for the different reasons.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to have to do maybe some contracts, or they're going to have to lasso this in, and I don't know how they're going to do it. But in order to keep people engaged and athletes engaged and alumni engaged, you're going to have to fix this, I think.
And there's such a trickle-down effect. I mean, even today up in Charleston at the Capitol, they're talking about transfer stuff at the high school level. And I don't know what has happened today, so I don't want to speak on anything definitively. But you see it trickle down, and it's unfortunate for a lot of these athletes.
Well, that's what they do. I mean, that's what high school kids and middle school kids, they mimic what goes on in college and the pros. Now, the pros, they don't. There's no pretense about what they do. They pay you money, and you work for them. It's a business.
Yeah.
College is supposed to be a little bit different, and high school certainly. I mean, there was news the other day that Mark Kellogg, the women's head coach at West Virginia, his daughter has an NIL deal. She's in high school.
Wow.
Now, I would never begrudge. I think it's cool. I mean, I'm sure she's gonna work that to her advantage and make something good out of it. But we just got to be careful with how we do this. And I've never ever been against athletes making some money. They work too hard. Their schedules are too, rigid, where they can't go off and get a part-time job. But you have to do it with some common sense.
Well, there's always somebody out there that's wanting to push it to the limit,
Oh, yeah.
use it as a competitive advantage, and incentivize you to come here, go there, and that's been, I think, always the normal, neutral take of this whole thing. Like you said, you want to get paid? Great, that's awesome.
Yeah.
It's when somebody else enters the fray and uses it for a reason it wasn't intended.
Well, that's where the agents get involved, and that's why you're seeing coaches like Jay Wright get out.
I was going to say, I wonder how many coaches left for that particular reason. You're Nick Saban.
Yeah,
Look at all my rings on my finger, and you're asking me how much I'm going to pay you.
yeah.
I mean,
before you've ever played it down. That's the other thing. We're paying them ahead of what they contribute, right? No matter what it
And
is.
if they don't pan out, does that booster's pocket get a little more shallow?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Who knows?
I mean, if you want to pay $1 million to your school to get to one particular kid, and he leaves a year later, you're like, I'm not shelling out $1 million again for
Troy
that.
What if coach doesn't start him?
Torrey Aikman said that with the quarterback situation at UCLA. He gave money specifically for an unnamed quarterback, but everybody knew who it was.
Yeah.
And he said, "Kid didn't even thank me." Now, this is what we're doing here. It's not teaching our athletes, I think, what we should teach them, but we'll see if some cooler heads can prevail here over the next 5-10 years.
That line from our favorite golf game from 25 years ago. What's going on
What's
today?
going on today?
If you look it up, Lynx 98.
We'll get people on YouTube. I'm sure it's out there. Let's go to the Olympics a little bit.
Riveting
Just say,
television.
I mean,
Lordy.
I believe the United States set its own record for total gold medals at the Winter Olympics. They had 12 this year. I think the previous record was 10, which they secured back in 2002, Salt Lake City, which makes sense.
Salt Lake.
It's on your own soil. You want to try to win as many gold medals as possible. 12 this year, and really the two, at least one that's certainly eluded us for a long time, is the gold in men's hockey. But it wasn't just the men. I mean, a complete ice hockey sweep, 2-1 over Canada in both gold medal games, both with dramatic finishes. I don't know if you could write up a storybook any better than what we saw. That was pretty special. Those games were intense. It looked in a lot of ways like the ice was tilted toward Canada in both of those games,
Yeah.
and somehow the Stars and Stripes figured it out. Were you guys up early, at least watching that game on Sunday?
Well, Sunday morning I woke up to hear, I'm not sure what was on, but normally it's Pioneer Woman or
What?
Main Cabin Masters. And I looked at my watch, I'm like, it's 8:30.
Hold on, I like main cabin matches.
It's good.
I don't like Pioneer.
So I grabbed the remote and turned it right on, and we didn't move a muscle till 11:35.
It brings in, especially the Olympics time, and I just think that's what's so special about the Olympic Games. You notice you're not looking at DraftKings ads. You're not. I mean, everything. NBC does an amazing job of telling those stories for 3 weeks, 3 weekends, 2 weeks, and it just makes you kind of a part of the story because you're watching these athletes, and then even if you're not a hockey fan, you're watching these, all the backstories and to see the way those things played out. Here's my thing. I'm not, of course, a hockey expert, and hockey purists will say they don't like the 3-on-3 overtime rule, and the Canadian coach even said as much. You take 4 players off the ice, it's not hockey. However, they won the previous game with the same exact format. But I will say I like the openness of the ice, but maybe, this is just my idea, maybe go 4-on-4. Because I think 3-on-3, those skaters are so good. And I told, didn't we talk about, I said someone's going to score quickly.
I
This
said-
won't last.
It was about a minute and a half,
And
wasn't
it
it?
doesn't, because those guys are so good, and women, they're so good at getting themselves into an open position. You put the goalie in a tremendously difficult spot. And so, sure enough, the Keller goal was incredible, how she did a little crossover.
That was
And
one
then-
of the dirtiest goals
Oh,
I've ever
man.
seen,
You know,
in the best way possible.
she dreamt of that
how
her
do
whole
you-
life. Yeah.
Dragging that, to do that in that moment, like doing that goal in a regular season exhibition game is unbelievable. Scoring in that fashion.
Yeah.
Doing it in the gold medal game to beat Canada for the win. Oh, my gosh.
Incredible,
Unbelievable.
And then the Hughes goal was Canada took a little gamble, and then it was basically a fast break going the other way, and beautiful pass, and Hughes wins it without his teeth. I mean, you can't even write that stuff and make it up.
And that was the crazy part because you watch it in real time and you're familiar with the game, and I know I saw all of a sudden, oh my gosh, they're going to have a 2-on-none, and just a little ding and deflection, all of a sudden 3-on-1. Hughes scores, and it was phenomenal. And just seeing the reactions from all across establishments up that early, watching them win again for the first time since '80 was fantastic.
Canada was fantastic. They were great.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I told my wife, this should be 3-1 right now because
they had
the
so
goalie
many
was
chances.
It
fantastic.
felt like a Canadian goal was inevitable in the second and third period. You're
Yeah.
like, this is over. Especially when they got the 5-on-3. You're like, oh my. I mean,
Yeah, I think McDavid missed an open, or McKinnon
missed that one wide open.
And
Hellebuck was unreal.
Hellebuck should have been the MVP. They gave that too early. When he stopped as many shots as he stopped that day, I mean, he's the best player on the ice, I thought, for them, because otherwise they're going to win.
Yeah. I believe he plays in Winnipeg for the Jets. And I don't say this as an insult to the Canadian folks. The best compliment they could probably pay him is to boo him with a smile when he comes back, and then give it some claps at the end, because that is their guy, and he's going to help them win for years to come. But I mean, talk about being the villain to another country for 3.5 hours on Sunday morning. Hellebuck was the man, and really, he's the reason the U.S. won.
And everybody, there was pushback from the NHL. Well, it's going to mess up our season. Our guys don't really want to play in the Olympics. Man, you saw them jump the boards when they won that, and they looked like 12-year-olds winning the state championship in Little League. I mean, the emotion was so incredible to watch. And don't look at that and tell me they don't want to play in the Olympics, because that was such a celebration.
In the same aspect, the Canadians look like someone just kicked their dog.
Oh yeah.
And you take another sport, someone wins, and say ski jump, you get silver, you're jumping out of your boots.
Oh yeah.
And they look like they did not look happy. So that shows how much it means to them as well.
Yeah, they don't. That silver medal is great, but then in Canada with hockey, they don't. Silver doesn't work.
They got a nice plushie.
Yeah,
That was the funniest part of the whole
I felt
thing.
so bad for those guys. They got
What
really
is that?
good.
Was that a squirrel? What is that thing?
I don't know, but I saw the figure skaters put it on Alyssa
They were
Liu.
putting
They
it
put
around,
yeah.
the medal. But listen, to hand a stuffed animal to a 30-year-old Nathan McKinnon after he lost the gold medal,
Man.
he had the best reaction to it. I would have reacted the same way. He just kind of looked at it and was like,
You know how
"What
when you're
is
little
this?"
and you tear apart your little sister's
Yeah.
doll? That's probably what I would have done.
I read a tweet. Somebody said they're going to go into the Canada locker room and all of these things are going to be beheaded.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
like
It's going to be stuffing everywhere.
that scene from Animal House where your boy's holding that bunny rabbit and then he punches.
Yeah.
And it's hard. I mean, think about that. They got to sit there and watch the Team USA celebrate. It would have been the same thing if Canada
Brutal,
won.
man.
And you got to sit out on the ice. You got to wait and get your silver medals, and everybody. And you'd rather be anywhere else but there. But I mean, that's what hockey does. I mean, the famous handshake lines are hockey through and through, and so you gotta sit out there and take it.
For them, that was probably a long 25 minutes.
Oh,
if that, I mean, it might have been longer than that.
Yeah.
For them, it felt like.
And without Sid Crosby, I mean, he was very diplomatic, and
He's a legend regardless of what happened Sunday.
And he said it in a good way. He said, I'm not going to go and jeopardize our team because I can't go 100%. And he knew he wouldn't help his team.
Mm-hmm.
So even though he's Sid Crosby, one of the greatest of all time, he wasn't going to go out there and endanger his team's chances. And so he took one for the team.
Have either of you guys ever chipped a tooth or anything like that?
I did, but not playing hockey.
No.
Yeah, just a little one.
I mean, I might have chipped a tiny, not like.
It feels
like
bad.
that.
All you do is you put your tongue on it, and Jack must have gone.
He had
a giant hole there.
Yeah. Well, the announcers, I think, originally were saying he might be picking up some teeth off the ice.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I think he may have been looking around for it. Probably found it, went over to the bench with it.
So
I don't know what that feels like, but it can't feel good. And really, all the interviews I've seen of him after the fact, I mean, the one that's the most visible, of course, is that big front tooth on
yeah,
top.
right there.
But it looks like it caught him on the bottom a little bit too.
I mean, someone said if they can find him, my son said they should put gold teeth and put them right by his
Yeah,
nose.
man.
Just put them all together, his teeth and the gold.
Somebody downstairs in the newsroom said today that they would leave it because that's his mark, his gold medal mark.
That's easy for somebody
the
else
scar,
to say.
right?
You ever looked in the mirror when you tipped a tooth? That ain't pretty.
Oh, you know he probably hates it. All
I
these
mean, hockey guys are
great
cool, though.
pictures. That's true.
The hockey guys are tough. They don't.
Yeah.
Did someone see? Any of you see the picture? That all they had was he had the gold medal in his mouth.
Yep.
And he's taking
The
a bite.
tooth and the blood. I mean, it's just like, well, that's Olympic hockey for you.
Yeah.
I just think it's fun to watch, and the open ice is And NHL is great, of course. They're the greatest players in the world. But there's something about Olympic hockey that just, and it all goes back to the miracle in Lake Placid. But a lot of people had no idea that had been the last time we had won.
I forgot.
America had won. Yeah.
We've been in a
46
silver
years.
medal game, I think, twice. Or not silver. We've had a silver medal twice. I think 02 and 10.
Vancouver and 10.
When Sidney
I think.
Crosby beat us. So we've been right there.
Which shows, just like Super Bowls, it's hard to get there. I mean, just because of the USA and Canada doesn't mean you're always going to make it. I mean, there's some great world hockey teams out there. Sweden, Finland,
Yeah. I guess
Slovakia.
the hope for the sport of hockey is that a moment like this on both the men's and women's side isn't fleeting, because 1980 happens, and Mike Ruzioni himself even said, like, I thought that maybe the interest would run out eventually, and it still hasn't almost 50 years later. That kind of paved the way for American hockey players to have some respect in the National Hockey League. There weren't near as many of them at that point in time. So who knows what this moment will mean for the sport.
Right.
But what you would at least hope for is in these states where hockey is popular, that it grows even more. And maybe in some of those places where it's not so popular, people start saying, I think we've even heard here in Huntington that there's some interest in maybe a club hockey team at Marshall. Youth hockey around the country, you would think maybe there's more signups, something. That's kind of where you hope the game goes. And that goes for if you're Canadian or an American, you want that sport to be positively impacted by these kind of moments.
Well, there's one just up the road in Columbus, of course, the Blue Jackets, and Jimmy and I were around when the Blizzard were here, and I'll tell you what, there's something different about watching hockey in person than on television. You do not get the same feel, and when you're there, I mean, it's a really cool sport that is kind of riveting to watch in person, and I will say that 1980 team, I don't think it'll ever be like that again, because we're talking about college guys that were coming from, basically nowhere. Now we've got the NHLers playing. So now we have the best in the world. They were the best in the world in 80, which made that story even more impressive, because you're beating the big, bad, mighty Russians, and that thing. I don't think you can ever replicate that.
Yeah. I guess the difference is we know these Canadian guys, they're all in the NHL.
Oh, they all know each other.
Those Russian dudes, they were just the villains that you saw film of.
That's right.
And
you just used to see the back of their uniform.
yeah. And with social media, like, we know who Sidney Crosby is,
Right,
and
right.
a little more deeper than just the hockey player. So it's a little different.
It was quite a way to finish. Everybody complained. I thought, well, the only thing you can do is if you change the hockey, gold medal game to Saturday, because Sunday they have to get it done because of the closing ceremonies, and so.
Have they said how many people watched? Is that a number that's out?
I can't imagine.
I think it was.
I would want to know the OT number more than anything,
Yeah.
because as more people woke up, oh, well, there's a hockey game on. Oh, it's the gold medal game. Oh, it's an overtime. I bet you right there about 11 o'clock towards the end. That's the number I want to know. What was the max viewership through that window?
And they'll be in Salt Lake in 34. I think. Am I doing math right? Yeah. So we get closer, we can have a maybe a little later gold medal game before the closing ceremony.
Because next one's in kind of the same area, France.
French Alps, yes.
Oh, yeah, it's in France, isn't it?
And then L.A. in 2028.
The only
Summer
NHL game I've been to, it was the Utah Mammoth.
The Mammoth.
They were the hockey club. This was last year before they became the Mammoth. But
okay.
the only NHL game I've ever been to.
Yeah, it's crazy
Been to
about
Blizzard games, though.
what makes watching hockey in person so good, because some sports, we can go out and hit a bunch of threes and run a little slower than we used to. But if you've ever ice skated and how hard that is,
Oh, my gosh.
you're creeping along like a 3-year-old, and then you go out there and see just how they stop on a dime, and it's
The
just
speed is incredible.
and how well they pass the puck. In person, it's just like, how do they do that? It's amazing. That's what makes it so much fun to watch in person.
That's why I was so impressed by the Megan Keller goal, because you have a human body in front of you with this little puck and a stick in your hand, and you're dragging it between that other person and yourself, and then regathering it and finishing against a world-class goalie. It's unbelievable.
Her skates had to leave the ice to do the crossover. Like, you're not just gliding, you're basically stepping over.
Yeah.
And it's a step through kind of crossover backhand goal. It was phenomenal to watch. And then some of those saves that Hellebuck had were put that
Crazy.
stick on the back where it was like
If
this is
Boldy's
theater.
goal was crazy, too.
Yeah.
Carrying that thing. He was like Tiger Woods
Yeah,
with the golf ball.
they just toy it, like pick it up and toss it.
Yeah.
My favorite goals to ever watch is when you're behind the net and they have a minute, they just flip it up and put it. You ever seen those
On
goals?
the other
Yeah.
side like that.
And they just dink it over the goalie's head because he has no idea what that player's doing with the puck.
I don't know how the goalies keep track of the thing, especially when it goes behind the net. You're looking around. I'm sure they're all talking out there, but still.
Yeah, I mean, to do that on the biggest stage that only comes every 4 years, I've always said that the Olympics are the ultimate pressure sport because you only get one shot at it. Just like the American figure skater, poor guy was the best in the world and had a bad day. That happens. And then Michaela Schifrin, last Olympics, falls 3 times, comes back and wins gold. It's like you have to have a different makeup to do that because the pressure is immense. I don't know how they do it.
It's probably more mental up there because we all know physically they're
Oh, yeah.
there for a reason.
Yeah.
Now it's how do you handle the moment?
I mean, they've done those routine hundreds of times.
Oh, a million times in their head. I mean, just, to pull that off is something else.
Well, let's bring it home, and this is the moment that I've been looking forward to the most. Is hearing
Jimmy's
from,
story?
Hearing from Jimmy here. I'm going to bring up the lower third, which says Jimmy
Jimmy
Tracy injury update. So,
Because it was in the snow and ice, so it was sort of his own.
It was on a day like today.
what was this, late January?
January
Oh,
10th.
it wasn't icy then?
No, January 11th, because it was the day after Marshall beat Coastal here, I believe. I'm walking my dog like I do every day, and Keith tells me I wasn't paying attention, which probably happened. It's on my phone. We're doing a run/walk, and I hit a crack, I think on 4th Street before hitting 5th Street. We're 4 blocks from home, and I hit a crack, and all of a sudden I'm going down hard.
Oh, man.
So I tried to turn. Everything landed on my left side, and I heard a crunch. A lot of times I'll try to get up.
Audible crunch.
Audible crunch. At first I felt my head. I'm like, okay, my head's fine. And I tried to get vertical, and I couldn't breathe. I'm like, and I'm terrible about going to doctors, and especially the ER. So, of course, I tried to walk home,
Of course.
bend over. I get to between 5th and 6th Street, and I called my wife and I says, you got to come get me. Not that easily. It was out of breath.
Hard to talk?
Hard to talk.
Yeah.
Couldn't talk.
Had you self-diagnosed at this point yet, or you're just thinking, man, it could be anything?
I just knew it was bad. And so, and then we get to the hospital and 4 cracked ribs and a punctured lung.
I'm sure it felt like every bit of it.
It was a nightmare. But I know I wouldn't wish it on anybody. And after, things seemed to get a lot better. It was a Sunday. Come Friday, I could maybe get up and do some things. But, now we're back to about, like I said, 90%. The only thing that hurts now is I even slept on my left side this morning, which was unheard of 3 weeks ago. So we're back.
And you narrowly avoided surgery, right? Which sounded like the worst thing in the world.
They called it rib plating. And they say that's worse than getting hurt.
Google it. It's terrible.
So-
I Googled it. It's awful.
I thought sometimes you get hurt and you get hurt pretty good, and you always say to yourself, all right, well, it could have been worse. So,
Where does it rank for you in terms of, your lifelong injuries you've ever
well,
sustained?
in high school, between junior and senior year, we were at Bob's Buffalo basketball camp at Kentucky Christian College. And he doesn't believe this, but I just started to dunk.
I believe you.
With the volleyball?
No,
Or with
well,
the
I could do a volleyball.
Okay.
But I just started dunking basketball, and then we were playing. Those camps you play 4 games a day, and I broke one ankle and twisted the other. Now it wasn't a break like you see; it was hairline fracture, but still break.
Come down on somebody's foot or something?
Come down on someone's foot, that twisted, and the other leg just flipped under and landed on the leg, and I couldn't walk for a week, and then never got the hops back. Almost did, but the punctured lung was awful because when you can't breathe, it's the worst.
So was your original thought like maybe I just knocked the wind out of myself, but then it just never
Well, I
goes
try to
away?
so you try to stand up and you still can't catch your breath, and you walk about 10 feet and you can barely walk, and then you're hunched over, and my poor dog's just looking at me like something's wrong. Woodstock never left my side.
That's a bad feeling when you can't catch your breath.
No,
Really bad.
and you're really you're breathing like,
Yeah.
Oh, God.
and then
This
well,
short and fast.
and sometimes when you get hurt, you think, well, if I throw up, I'll feel better.
Sure.
But you're using your rib muscles.
I think I have Aaron.
That was worse.
I think I have Aaron's voicemail if you want me to play it.
Oh,
Is that for real?
Oh,
I think I did.
Because we called.
Put it up to the
Oh,
mic.
no, I called back. That's right.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
right. She called me, and then I called her right back.
So that would have been great to have, we do 911 calls and stuff during news. That's kind of similar.
I don't think that's
In a
on.
way.
Jimmy,
I don't
what?
think that's on. What's that called? Broadcastify.
Oh, yeah, where we get all the calls.
We
I
weren't.
said, Aaron said, Jimmy can't breathe. I guess I'm working today. No, I didn't say that. I said, just take care of him.
Because I didn't know, and I feel bad. I didn't know until like more than 24 hours later. I heard, I think, Tim in the newsroom talking about it with someone, and I had kind of pieced it together like, oh, it sounds like Jimmy was injured. And then I didn't know what your status was, if you were still in the hospital or what, so I didn't want to bug you. And then you hit me up and was like, how was your Sunday? And I was like, well, sounds like it was way better than yours.
He sent us a video of him walking that week upstairs, and he was taking steps like this.
And those were not fun.
Yeah.
So I cautioned him to stop taking his dog out at night.
No, it was 12:30 in the afternoon.
No, but then during his recovery, Tim saw him at night walking his dog. It's like, and this was when it was ice.
Yeah, that's when it was ice.
I said, "Come on, are you stupid? Come on."
Yeah, it's a loaded question.
What's the lesson learned here from your vantage point?
Well, keep your eyes up. Look for cracks.
Cracks in the sidewalk.
Cracks in the sidewalk, and don't run with your dog. Because I was like, as we were running / walking, and he gets much like me. He gets sidetracked with stuff, and so we're doing the last couple blocks, and I think I just started running the last block and change, and boom.
And if you can't get your arm down to block your fall, then you do like that.
Yeah.
All your weight goes on that.
Yeah.
So ready to go.
And you're not trying to get a bag out of this. We're not suing anybody about the sidewalk, right?
No. I say my first thought.
You calling Morgan and Morgan?
My first thought. Actually, my first thought when I got up was, in a couple hours, I think I'll be okay to go to work.
Oh my God.
No way. Did you come in that day?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They must not have wanted me to work that day. I think I did the day before.
You worked plenty.
Well, no.
I worked that Saturday.
Did you? Or maybe it was the weekend before I had worked.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Aaron just said, just call work and let them know. And I'd already talked to him. So I said, I'm going into work. Jimmy's got
I got some
punctured
issues.
lung and some broken ribs.
Unbelievable.
Ooh.
All right. Be careful, Jimmy.
I'm trying.
You guys got anything else? I've got our giant camera up.
I think we've covered.
Not giant. It's actually the smallest camera we have.
We're just it's almost
covered
time.
Everything.
It's almost time for the best 5 weeks of the year. Conference basketball, state tournaments, NCAA tournament, and Augusta. And we can tack on him his little trip to Spain. So he's gonna have like 8 good weeks.
That's right. Are you gonna do the voice?
He did it.
Keith's trip?
He did it in the hospital room.
I'm not doing the voice on that.
Jimmy has a voice, guys.
He does.
Very, very soothing voice.
That's when he's making fun of you. He has a Jimmy voice.
It started at Snowshoe years ago because he would make up $100 in skins, and it eventually becomes, oh, what a surprise! Keith gets another $50. And so now, it's called the Jimmy voice, and most people in the newsroom do it now. Tim does it.
It's pretty famous.
Sometimes Tim will bring it out in the. Like with Tom Brady. What is New England Patriots win another Super Bowl? So it's pretty funny.
There's a lot of things going on in Jimmy's head.
That's correct.
As you know.
Well, this was awesome. I'm glad we got the triple threat back up here again. It's always nice.
Good times.
I will do it again. Hopefully we'll catch up from FLA.
Yeah, we'll have some brackets to talk about before you guys leave. So we'll hopefully plan on getting at least one of you back up in here before you head to Pensacola, and then we'll see you there, because it's going to be an action-packed weekend that hopefully bleeds into the early part of the next week, which is Monday, Tuesday, where they have the championship. So that means a longer trip for you guys too down in Florida.
Okay. It's so much fun. As he will tell you, I'd start talking about Pensacola in October.
Just counting down the days.
I almost got in the car we were going somewhere there 2 weeks ago, and I almost said, just out of the blue, when do you want to leave for Pensacola, just to see what his reaction would be?
Like, man, we're still trying to figure that out.
Jimmy, just take one day at a time.
I know.
All right, guys, I'll let you go.
Thanks,
I will take this thing home. Appreciate it, guys. All right, everyone, that has been an episode of WSAZ Sports Plus. As we just alluded to, these boys will be headed to Florida for Sun Belt tournament coverage, so that's something that you'll want to be on the lookout for next week, kind of towards the later part of next week. Maybe Thursday, but definitely Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. These guys will be down there bringing us some live coverage, and we'll see how it goes down there in the Marshall Hoops world. Of course, we'll have Sun Belt tournament brackets come the end of this weekend, so I would imagine on next week's episode that will be a pretty heavy part of what we discuss, the Sun Belt tournament bracket. And, of course, college basketball going on all over the country. We'll have to look at some of the other brackets as well. I'm not sure when the MAC tournament starts, if that's next week as well. It probably isn't, because I think OU plays next Friday against Miami. But regardless, we will be talking hoops and whatever else. Of course, the Marshall baseball and softball teams are at it these days as well. Hard to believe, but I mean, we are in the later part of February, so college baseball and softball is up and running. And as always, we'll have guests coming in and out of here. We've got a guest coming in tomorrow if all things go according to plan, and also for the state tournaments as far as basketball is concerned. Sorry, I'm just teasing everything we've got coming up. The state tournament for boys and girls basketball in West Virginia, going to have all kinds of Sports Plus coverage that will actually be live on site at the Coliseum. We'll tell you more about it next week, but it's going to be awesome. A lot of post-game coverage. We're going to have athletes and coaches joining us on this new desk that we have that we're taking to the Coliseum. So it's going to be pretty killer. With that said, I appreciate you for tuning in on this live episode of WSAZ Sports Plus. If you're listening on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, appreciate that as well. If you are watching on YouTube or on the WSAZ app after the fact, we certainly thank you as well. For now, this has been WSAZ Sports Plus. I'm Joseph Payton. We will see you next time.